Hey everyone, Scott Kramer here with Horizon Hobby, and we are here for episode number 4 of Under the Hood with the Super Baja Rey. And before we get started, a couple key things to hit on. Number 1, as you see, all the Losi apparel that I've been wearing is now officially in stock and available to you through your local dealer or horizonhobby.com. So we've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, and hats, so definitely go online and check that out. Hate to bring this up again, but third episode in a row, I will talk about the weather. Yes, the lovely Midwest, Mother Nature has bit us again. So the first week it was 7 degrees and 4 inches of snow. Last week it was torrential rain, but 50 degrees. Yesterday it was 50 degrees again, and we had flash flooding. All the streets were covered. It was pretty nasty around Champaign here, but luckily today it is not raining, but it is only a blistery 22 degrees. Again, gotta love the weather here in the Midwest, but we are going to attempt to make a speed run. What we're going to talk about first before we get into the speed runs is we're going to talk about pinion change, because that's one of the main things. If you're going to do strictly speed runs, you're going to want to go up as high as you can on your pinion count. But just want to put a disclaimer out there. A lot of the stuff that we're going to do today is strictly for speed runs. We're not going to put the big giant pinion on it and go run it in the grass, go run it on the track, try and run the batteries until they're dead. This is specifically for, 1 or 2 passes, speed runs, let the motor, the ESC, the battery, everything cool down, do a couple more speed runs. So again, this is strictly for speed runs. We don't recommend putting the biggest pinion you can on there and driving around for 15 or 20 minutes. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're actually going to put a 22 tooth pinion on here. The truck is set up so that you can go all the way up to a 24 tooth pinion if you really want to try and get crazy. But before we get into how easy it really is, I just want to talk about a reoccurring theme that we've been talking about in all the episodes, and that's just pure beefiness, strength, and toughness of this truck. So here we have the pinion. As you can see, this thing is just a chunk of steel. It's super heavy. Being a 10 scale racer, I look at this and just am blown away by how thick and beefy and strong it is. Then you got your internal transmission gears. Again, super beefy. It looks like something you would see in a full scale car. And then we also have our spur gear. Again, solid steel, super beefy and tough. This thing is going to take all the abuse and all the hard hits that you're going to dish out when you're out in the desert or you're on the track running. As we mentioned, it's the motor goes up to a 24 tooth, or can accept up to a 24 tooth pinion. Here's what makes life so much easier and makes a pinion change so quick and easy on this truck. This is the actual motor plate that we'll show you once we get inside the truck. And if you can see right here, it actually has all the pinion numbers etched into the motor mount plate. So what you basically do is you go, okay, well, stock is a 19, so when we pull the motor out, the 2 motor screws will be in the 19 tooth pinion location, and then we're going to actually rotate it to the 22 tooth pinion location. So that way you put your pinion on your motor shaft, you lock down your motor screws, and then you just drop it in. You don't have to try and line up the motor and get the perfect gear mesh. It's already done for you. So with that being said, you know what? Let's get into it and show you how easy it is. So now that we've got the truck flipped over, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the motor plate. I've kind of removed a couple of the screws just to speed things along and kind of make it a little bit faster for you guys watching at home. So we've got 2 screws here, a single screw here. So we'll go ahead and we'll remove that one. Super nice and easy using the Dynamite large scale toolkit. Pretty cool little ratcheting handle for you guys. So then once we get the screws out, you're just going to simply pop the motor plate out, and then basically you can just see it's a nice chunk of 4mm aluminum. We got a nice plastic piece here which actually kind of presses up against the bottom of the motor to keep it in place. Alright, once you have your motor plate off, it's basically just as simple as pulling the motor up and out of the chassis just like that. So once you have that done, you could kind of get to your pinion set screw, get it lined up, loosen it up, slide it off, And then you'll see once you get here that we've actually got, I put some pencil marks there just to kind of help us out to make it a little bit quicker for the video. But as you'll see, it's in the 19 tooth pinion spot here, and then it just lines up across from it. And then once we put the 22 in, we'll actually line it up, same thing, right across from each other. So you're basically going to just remove your 2 motor plate screws. Get those out of the way. Okay, and then once you have your screws out, what you're going to want to do is actually rotate the motor plate a little bit, because you're not going to use the same exact holes you use for your 19 tooth, obviously, because we're going to be putting the 22 tooth pinion on. So we'll just get this lined up here. Get the top one started, that way we can get the bottom one lined up. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll get these tightened. All right, once you got your motor plate screws nice and tight, what you're going to want to do is take your new pinion, get the set screw lined up to the flat spot on the motor shaft. And what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to just snug it. We're not going to tighten it down, because once we drop this back into the chassis, what we're going to want to do is look inside here and make sure the pinion is lined up with the internal gears, so that everything lines up and has, perfect mesh, and it's not out of line to where the gear is kind of funny or not true and straight. So once you get your pinion tightened up, it's as simple as taking your motor plate, dropping it back in, get your screws started, and then basically get everything tightened back up again. Once you get it down pat, once you do it once, you could probably do this in 2 or 3 minutes. It's really that simple. So now what we're going to do is we're going to head outside, and we're going to try and do some speed runs for you guys, and hopefully it's not too icy outside. So we'll see you out there. All right, guys, we're outside in this nice blistering cold weather. My ears are freezing. It's about 20 degrees outside, and it's awfully windy, but we're gonna make a pass right here. We've got 6S power in there, and all we did was change to a 22 tooth pinion. It's so cold I can't even speak right now, but we're gonna make a couple passes and see what kind of speed we can get out of it.
That was awesome!
That was awesome! And remember, this is 6S with a 22 tooth pinion. So let's see what we got for top speed on there. 62 miles an hour. So basically just a simple pinion change up to a 22 on 6S power, and 62 miles an hour. So that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive indeed. How'd you guys like that? 62 miles an hour with just a simple pinion change on 6S power. So basically, you saw earlier in the video, it took about 5 minutes to make the pinion swap. Super nice and easy. And yeah, went out and ran 62 miles an hour. Hopefully the weather warms up. We can do some more speed runs. Show you guys what we can get out of it, because I'm here to tell you that that's not the limit. Trust me on that. And we even went so fast, we lost our GoPro on the last run. That's what was kind of bouncing down the road. So we'll have to check out that coverage and see how that looks on the video. But until next week, we'll see you guys later.